好，那大家好，大家午安。我是网络大学办公室，我是蔡明刚。那今天我们非常的荣幸，请到冯宽文老师来师大给我们演讲。那冯老师是新加坡国大的这个学士，那在学士毕业之后呢，他有2个硕士学位，一个是在新加坡国大，一个是在 TMU 在德国。那最后冯老师呢，也在新加坡国大完成了他分析化学博士的这个博士学位，非常荣幸，横跨这个化学以及化学教育2个领域。那冯老师在这个其他的这个服务面向呢，他目前是Chemistry Teacher International 的副主编，那他也是Journal of Chemical Education 的 Advisory Board。那我刚刚得到冯老师获选是我们的 ACS 的 Fellow， 这其实是非常莫大的荣誉那我们今天非常的荣幸有机会邀请到冯老师来给我们讲 Mastering Artificial Intelligence Integration in Global STEM Education via the TPACK framework。那我就不再耽误冯老师的时间，那大家一起按赞欢迎冯老师。
Right.
It's all yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Brad, Professor Chai Mingkang. Thank you, audience, for having me here. So I'm Fan Man Fong, and I will do this in English because it's my preferred way of presentation. I will try to speak a bit slower, but feel free to ask me later in the interaction stage. So now, first of all, right, I have to say that after this talk, you might not really master how to use AI. That's not my intention. But I believe that after my talk, you have a better understanding of what is out there in the global university and also in your role as a capacity as a student, as a teacher, as a university administrator, what you can do to support your community. So at first, I want to introduce myself. Professor Chai has recently introduced my degree, right? And as you know, I moved from organic chemistry to photochemist to analytical. And for my this Fulbright research, I was doing chemical education. So I'm a trained chemist, not trained in education. But to me, as a professor, we are lifelong learners. In fact, I do encourage you, no matter how old you are, how young you are, you can always learn. Meet new people, travel abroad. Now, this is my team, my research group here. Here you see how many people? 7, right? Less than half of us. So there's only 3 of us. We are trained chemists. The others, 3 of them are psychologists. 1 is a science teacher. But to me, I celebrate diversity, just like Taiwan, because when we have inclusion, we learn from the very best. As long as we care about education, they can join my group. So my research is really how to train the next generation of people, especially scientists and our students, by innovating digital technology through STEAM education and designing the learning experience. We talk about engaging our alumni from a university. Now they become CEO, they become company founder. They have so much resource. Please donate to Shida. Please donate, right? But what if we change such that when they are students right now, we are able to give them a very good experience so that memory lasts for a lifetime. They're so happy. Then when they have some money, naturally, they will donate to you. You don't have to invite them. They just come take my money, okay? I want to highlight here, right? You see the A there is STEAM and STEM. I think today is more important to involve our colleagues in the humanities and the arts and social science. Because if not, that's not a university. You are just like the leader, we have to engage the others too. My group is about the science of learning, 学习科学, how people learn. Because today we have the 少子化. Young people are not giving birth, the whole population is going down because of the war and other reasons. Which means every child born is important, right? Whether they can maximize their potential. Can they contribute to the society, have the right skills, and just be a worker and earn a salary, but have a meaningful life? So my research has 3 areas. First, we have the lab, that's the learning community, which is about bringing people together. We learn from each other. But to do that, there's a mechanism of building trust. The middle is extended reality. In short, it's about AR, augmented reality, and VR, virtual reality, but it's a bit more than that. So that they can see 3D visualizations, they can imagine and see very tiny. What is nanoparticles? TiGDN is always going very small, right? When you cannot see it, you cannot believe it. The one on the right is about learning strategy. This is about how we remember things and don't forget. This is the field of the education psychologist, and I'm trying to do something about memory because I think that now we have so much information. We want some information to stick, some to go. But there is actually some research on that part there. Okay? Maybe next time I share in another talk. But today I want to share that I'm a chemist in Singapore. I worked for a while at the university as a teacher, and I've started to challenge assumption. Because today, when we talk of AI, it's about challenging assumption that did not exist 20 years ago. There were GPU, but nobody can put AI and GPU together to have ChatGPT audits. No one thought it was possible. So in my lab, I was just a university teacher. I challenged the assumption that when you do chemistry experiment, you must have a liquid to make a product. Here, we show you a green chemistry synthesis using solid state mixing, and you get a product from an alkyl condensation. Students are like, you can do that? When they do it and successful, they're like, wow, you see, this is science, right? Of course, I do have a YouTube channel, and you are invited to subscribe and learn more from what I teach there. And I also believe that besides learning science, learning your major, it's about the life skills that they will bring when they will do to the workplace, like leadership, like communication, like teamwork, presentation. All these are part of a good human being there. So to do that, I think we need to do something to the curriculum, right? And today, it's more important than not, we are in the age of disinformation, right? Disinformation means that we have lots of fake news. How can we think clearly? That's also important for young people. How do you know that whether content, the news is AI generated? And to do that, we have to work with the policymakers. So I was very fortunate that in Singapore, I get to know the Ministry of Education, the senior people, and they know about my work, and work together to impact the wider community, right? Because, through textbooks, through sharing with the schools and the teachers and the principals, we are able to express a bigger change. And now, so in Singapore, every year, the MOE, they organize this meeting for the high school teachers, right? And then they go for this big conference in Singapore there. They invite university professors to share some of the research there. And I will always speak about the UN SDG, but at the school level, they might not know so much about it. How can they integrate into systems thinking and so on? And I have students who are now the high school teachers, so I'm very glad to work with them and know we are still working together. I let them present at conferences, train the teachers there. I want to show that it's not about how old you are. You can be retired, you are still very good contributor. You're very young, but you are so ambitious and knowledgeable. You can teach someone older, okay? So this is some recent work there by my students who are excellent, experiential learning. So I hope that after this class, you not just listen to a lecture, but you all are hands-on. Right now, take notes. Go on ChatGPT, go on Gemini, As I'm teaching, you're learning, also do something together. The other thing of AI is that we can know how to use AI, but what about the curriculum? Will the university make a change? We know the change is very slow, but at least at the university, we have the ability to make some changes, right? To solve the world's problem, okay? So I want to also talk about the TPACK guiding principles of responsible chemistry, because today, we could have the best technology, but without the ethics, without knowing whether I should or not use AI for the right reason, okay? That's so important. Now, some people in the world, they are bad people, right? They learn chemistry to make bombs for the world. That's not good because they didn't know about the principle. They don't have the ethical thinking. Okay? And this is the recent work from a school in Ireland. So we managed to change the lab and become greener. I think it's better for the world. Yeah, it's cleaner that way. Now, back to today's talk, right, is about what you signed up for. Mastering AI, Global STEM Education, TPACK framework there. Many things is based on this work published recently, just a few months ago, okay? So this is also with one of the colleague in NTR, Professor Cai Jingzhong, yeah, and it's an international collaboration. I want to share that, right, from a name, you don't know who they are. Of course, I know who they are because I got everybody together. These are the phases. It is international across 4 continents. We have students, bachelor, PhD. We got teachers, professors. We have got administrator, the dean. We have got philosopher, chemists, educationalists. Because only when these people come together and talk about AI, what does it mean about learning and mastering, then I think the research is helpful. And I must thank my Fulbright research lab for giving me the chance to know these people there. Okay, so these are our roles: administrator, instructor, and students. Okay. Now, the brief content for today's short talk is I have 5 parts there. First, I want to frame it. What is a tipping point argument? Okay. Next, I will talk about what AI changed for teaching and learning. And then next, we do a study on the curriculum audit of the top universities in the world. And then what are the next steps? And then finally, do a conclusion. Okay? So the first part, I want to show that it's a tipping point. Now, this study started about a year plus ago. So you might think that it has passed the tipping point, but to me, it's always the tipping point because every day there's a new mode of the AI. There's always getting better, more clever. And about a few days ago, if you read the news, there's a hacking. Hugging Face was hacked, unauthorized. Very scary because these concern national security. Government data could be infiltrated. No matter how lock and key is safe, you can be opened by AI. Very scary, okay? But there's something we can do in our school there, okay? So I believe that to prepare our young researchers for future with AI, our curriculum must also be redesigned to design for new approach in solving problems and for thinking. Okay? Not just doing, but thinking. And I believe there are 3 big challenges. One is, traditionally, we learn about retrosynthesis. Okay, all these chemical informatics, Today, now it's normal. 10 years ago, it was, the frontier chemistry. Okay, but today it's so normalized because of technology and investment. Next, we talk about empirical study. Okay, in our research there, the department, less than half, have a machine learning or AI in chemistry. Aren't you bewildered? Almost 100% people use AI, but less than half of this top university has a course on AI. But think about it, and even, when these universities have the curriculum, if they are not normative, if they're not in a way standardized, there's no point because some good university will learn better, some less university will learn less. It's like doing nothing much. I also want to quote some data from the government. You know that this is a huge topic when the country government invests the money. So if you look at the top right, the whole world in 2023, there's a global investment in AI about $25 billion. And this is in US dollar. Okay, so you can multiply by 35, 40, okay, for US dollar, or for Taiwanese dollar. And in Ireland, where I'm now based, 370 million. And then in Singapore, where I was born, also from, it is 500 million, okay? So these are all the investment. And I think, of course, the same for Taiwan, and where you're from tuning in. Okay? Now, the similarity between Singapore and Ireland is we are a small population of 6 million. But the difference is Ireland is 100 times bigger in the size depth of the space. So I want to look at the literature about chemistry as a chemist, What is machine reasoning? It's not a new thing. It actually started almost 100 years ago in 1931 when there's the first programming language, okay? And they kind of compute the molecules there. And of course, some years later, we have the Dendro project where you have the mass spectrometry there. And then, of course, there's DFT calculations. I think Professor Chai Ming-Gang also kind of learned this probably in PhD on research there, The first principle, Fox, Hub tree desk. And then there's also retrosynthesis, popularized by E.J. Corey, a very good organic chemist. How to design that word, And of course, then you have the SQL database, and today, Nobel Prize 2024 in AI machine learning for chemistry. But I want to highlight this point here, in the history. This is between the 1990 and 2000, where there's an exponential increase in this computational power, right, about the computer-assisted synthesis planning. So I want to share that, right, because of this shift, the tipping point, right, instead of just, thinking with people, now the computer have to think with you. They are like your code generator, okay? Very important thinking. We change from deductive to inductive. Although there are scholars who believe in it, has been talked about for many years, right? But still, there's no change for more than 10 years. Now, what does it mean by deductive? You look at the theory, you apply the theory, and then you test the theory. Today, with AI, it's inductive, okay? You have the data, the chemists, the scientists, and the machine together, right? We analyze, and we generate the claim, we verify, rebut, okay? Which means now it's no longer important to memorize too many theory, but it's more important to understand, apply, and being very comfortable with the unknown. There's no correct answer because it's predictive, which means to say that this is still where university students take exams. For me, for many years, today as well. But in the future, it's computer. With AI, we give exam to students, use AI. Will they cheat? Will they think? I don't know. But we need to guide them. You look at the literature. 2014, right? Hannah Sabian from the US and Vincente Talenkia from Arizona University, they really talk about it. And the problem is that in university, although it's a university, you teach many, many fun things and difficult things. But each course in chemistry are taught by different professors and they don't talk to each other. Which means I teach quantum chem, I teach organic chemistry, I teach physical chemistry. Nobody joined the relationship. So students receive them in the sandbox, each of them separately. It's very hard for them, okay? And people think, okay, now let's do AI chemistry. We have an AI chemistry. What do we take up, right? To me, it's not so simple. One module doesn't solve the issue. What you need is the whole systems thinking to connect the different domains there, okay? But again, it's easier said than done, okay? But it's a very urgent to do. Now, for myself, right, 2 years ago, we published a paper that we need to focus back on the retro synthesis mindset design for critical thinking. Chemists, you think that I learned organic chemistry, I design my drug work, natural product, it's just for organic. No. It's the mentality that you apply the principles, you want to be successful in life. I want to have a life saving of 10 million Taiwanese dollar by age 60, right? Where should we invest? These are also virtual synthesis planning, right? If you today, you deposit 500 US dollar per month, keep in the bank. Let it run for 30 years. You get more than 150,000 US dollar back. You cannot believe it, but it's true because humans think linearly. It's hard for us to think exponentially. Very hard because it's not how we are shaped. Okay? So here, part 2 is about AI influencing teaching learning. Okay? There are 5 opportunities and 3 kinds of thinking. What are they? Here, AI is very good to help us to personalize. Now, every university operates like a semester. In UCD, in Dublin, we operate by a 12-week trimester. In Singapore, it's a 13-week. In Taishida, 15, right? 15, yeah? So, different university, different. But no matter how long or how short, there will be students who say, you're too fast, you're too slow, right? Every year, every time. It's normal because it's normal distribution. But with AI, who knows the student's pace, if you are a fast learner, can I give you a bit more? Okay? Can I slow you down? Can I give you more training? When you're slow ones, I don't say you're slow, but slowly. Take your time. This is what they can do. Next is about visualization. Now you see this teddy bear, okay? But you see the one dimension. In AI, you can rotate this in 3D, the back, front, entire facial, suprafacial. I think it's pretty good there. Next, of course, is drug discovery. You can make drugs that you can never design before. This is actually very important because in Taiwan, there's a drug problem. Young people take drugs to get high. But this is not just Taiwan, it's everywhere in the world, maybe except Singapore. You want to predict what are the drugs that's not in the legislation because they are bad for human health. They will go to the black market. You predict because they have the same effect as getting people, high and very, very feeling good, right? But they're harmful. So you can find this first, then you put in the law, and then you stop people from doing bad things. Next is the big data informatics, NLP, yeah. And finally is about the lab automation. Okay. So I want to make a division here. Now you have different roles. Maybe you're a student, you think you are powerless, right? Oh, teacher runs everything. That's not true. Humans have agency. We have the autonomy to design whether we use AI or not use AI. And if you use AI, how to use it, how to prompt it, when to use it. So if I start from the right side, we are all learners. If you believe you're learning, okay, what do I need to learn the skill? Okay, you work by retrosynthesis. What resource support my learning? Is it a tutor? Is it AI 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I need 5 AI, right? How can you prepare? Or if the AI tells you the wrong thing, how will you know? Now you're in the middle. You're a teacher. Teacher could be high school, primary school, university professors. As long as you're teaching someone, how can you design your assessment so that your students are better equipped with the skills? Remember, not the information. They might not need so much now. The skills to work with AI, so that the company say, you are good, right? You know how to use AI well, you are hired. Okay? And for the administrator, if you're the dean, the presidents, the academic vice president, you have to think, how can I support my teacher? Okay, take note. You don't think to the student because you are very high. You might be detached, You think your teachers, how do you support them so that they can support the students, okay? There are different ways I've seen, but I will just give some examples, different questions for reflection. Now, the thinking, the order matter. You start with chemical knowledge, then go to computational and critical thinking. You don't just start saying, I want to train critical thinking. It doesn't work for chemistry because without the chemistry knowledge and fundamentals, there's no way it can be critical. You can be critical about the news, about life, but not chemistry, not like a STEM field where you have very specific domain knowledge. Now you're good at chemistry. Then you learn about computational thinking, how the AI work, how the infrastructure, the process behind the scene. They're just pulling large language model, words string together with probability and come together and give you. They did not really verify too much if you use a low token. Okay? And then finally, with the skills, with more training and guidance with the experts, you are confident to think critically whether the information given by AI is true or not. That's when you master AI. So do not have the illusion that, oh, I just use AI every day. AI is better than me in chemistry. Click, answer, pass, 100 marks. You are wasting your time because you lack the chemical thinking. It's wobbly. The foundation is not strong. Okay? Which means somebody show you something without computer, tell me whether this is right. You are not confident. You must depend on AI. Okay? So this is where we need the teachers at the university to also learn this and then teach it to guide our students. Okay? Now, what is the critical evaluation of AI like in a chemistry class? Okay? Students would ask themselves, okay, if I'm using AI, can I have the knowledge to think that the AI is wrong or right or thinking rubbish? Okay? The teachers were like, can I use AI to give students and check AI, this is good stuff, This is rubbish stuff. This is the better stuff, okay? The assignment. And for the administrator, did I provide enough token, the platform for the teachers and the students to use it? Do you just give them Google because it's sponsored? Or you give them also Claude, you give them GPT, OpenAI, you give them Microsoft Copilot. Give them all options, right? Then they can check. Here, I would like to introduce something called the epistemic agency. What it says that, right, is like when you want to strengthen human relationship, right, you need to form this kind of bi-directional partnership, which means to say that it's no longer that the past, that the teachers know a lot of things, students know nothing. I teach you, transmit information, no more. Okay, today is co-learning. Young people, you learn technology faster than me, right? It's the truth. But we have experience, we have knowledge. So together we learn. But there's a presupposition, which means to say that if the teacher assumes that because of life experience and I'm better, the young people will not learn. Because the teachers also do not know what AI can do in today's world. Okay? The young people don't trust them. You're older, you know AI more than me, right? Unbelievable. I'm coming to the third part now. It's the changing gear. I will talk about the study. What are the leading university departments teaching? So we look at a sample of 51 universities, okay, in the world then. Who is everyone's favorite logo?
师大.
Okay, so everybody's logo is actually this QS ranking. The president always say ranking, right? So I want to say that, right, my university, you know, last month we just top 100, we are number 100. So our president is very happy, you know, that we can collaborate more. So I thank the collaborations that every university president care about the ranking, QS, even students. So the research method is we go to the QS ranking. We want to see the top university in each country. Now, some top university in the country might not be the top 50 or 200. So we have to make some exceptions, okay? And because some of the authors, like UCD, is not top 50, right? Top 20 chemistry department. So I need to include them. If not, my employer is not happy. So you do include Xiamen, Zurich as well. They are good university. And then you look at the public data, the courses they offer, curriculum, the teacher, the syllabus, the descriptor, but we focus only on the bachelor and the master's because PhD is a bit more autonomous, okay? There are two categories in our study. I want to first frame as a computational coursework called CC, and under this, right, there's a CT, CC, and CI, and the other one is the artificial intelligence and machine learning, right? What the left side counts, right, is that these courses does not teach artificial intelligence. So the right side is really more technical. It's about AI and ML. So I want to divide these two because we don't mix things together. AI is not just ChatGPT. AI is not just Gemini. It's more complex than that. Okay? But from this analysis, I must admit there are some limitations because it's all self-reported, right? If I tell you this is my syllabus, but the teacher teach different things. Maybe they spend 1 hour, half an hour. They have this AI chemistry, right? We cannot verify, okay? The depth, the quality. We found that our study, computational coursework is common, but computational thinking is not common, okay? So they teach computational, but not the thinking behind it, okay? So they do this maybe computational chemistry, they teach a bit on the DFT, they teach a bit on the Python, but not the thinking, right? So you see the data here. 1 out of 8, they do CT, okay? That means CT is like how the computer thinks, 0 and 1, you know, this kind of the the language of a computer. Okay? Now, less than half of them teach AI or ML at all. Okay, so they do offer this course, right? At least we can see from the title of the course. But what is really inside there? Now, we find that this is a higher number than the previous slide because when the world changed, we have to react quickly. When Cambridge and Oxford have AI course, you must have one. If not, you can't draw the best student. But sometimes I think it's very reactive. It's a knee-jerk reaction that you have a course, but what about the whole curriculum? You have to go through this approval by the administrator, right? Present the proposal, go to the dean with the academic vice president. It's a long process, maybe 1 or 2 years. I've done it before. Sometimes you think the title can change, but the coursework change a lot, change a bit. I don't know, okay? But think. Now, we also find that, right, in terms of the computational coursework there, it's not in tandem. So they do computational, but they don't have a link it to the AI and machine learning, which means to say that I can be taking computational, I can get a very good grade and learn very well, but they know very little about machine learning, right? Which to me, I think is a little bit of a failure. First, it's a missed opportunity, right? And it goes back to the literature to say that, right? Actually, machine learning should be taught together with computational chemistry and not like, okay, it's two separate things. You learn one, then the other. No. Remember my earlier slide. You don't just E-chem, N-chem, you know? You change, right, and integrate together, okay? Now, we also find that, right, these are some highlight example. UCL is pretty good. They have a class in machine learning for chemistry with root neural network. Because there's a professor who does really well. He has got lots of citation. You know who he is, okay? I went there to give a talk last year. And then NTU is also very good because they are a bit more lean, you know? They want to offer new courses to draw the good students. But I must want to highlight it's Imperial College. They have a whole master's digital chemistry with AI. Yes, because the faculty members in material science is a young person, Aaron Walsh. He's Irish. When you have a professor who does research in AI chemistry, you cannot beat that. You cannot beat that. So they have a curriculum and they get best students there. I was there, 2 months ago, I visited them. So good. But in all, you have to say that one class is a good starting point. You have to make a module and a curriculum like a program. But to do that, you need collaboration between the teachers. And I must say that there's always limitation like a research and study. Same with this is, we are just looking at the title. We can't go to the class. We can't take the class. So I cannot give you the experience. I can say, wow, that is a great course. I learned a lot. The Python knowledge at GitHub, I learned a lot in cloud. I can't say that because I don't have money to pay the tuition fee. They charge too much in the UK, okay? Next, what if there are some university who have, but they don't publicize it? It's hidden, okay? And there are things that maybe you don't park it in chemistry department, you do it in material science, and there's a common curriculum, okay? And there's also other factors, like it's skewed to those who speak English, right? Maybe there's some language like in Chinese, in the Turkish, we don't capture them. And it also means that when I teach, it doesn't mean you learn. Remember, teach and learn, okay? Teach well, might not learn well. Teach poorly, you can learn well, you know? So if you're a learner, don't just blame the teacher. We all had bad teachers before. You can learn better, okay? So my last bit is, what is next then? What does it mean to master AI, right? Now, personally, I believe that there should be curriculum change. Change is always good. Not change everything every time, every year, but incremental change. Change bit by bit every year. Then across 10 years, you get an updated curriculum. Okay? What is true is that AI does enhance teaching and learning. It helps teachers. It helps students. You see, I use help students. Students think they use AI, they can do faster. But they lose the mastery. 他们真正的本能没有 ，OK， 基本功没有 ，OK， 老师还是有 ，because we train from the hard work. Now we have a good tool. It makes us faster. Okay. Young people, listen to me. Okay. You can use AI, but not all the time. You still have to train very hard. Okay. If not, your brain is like a piece of muscle. Okay. You don't exercise, you'll be not so strong. Okay. You cannot see because your head is always this big, right? But inside is soft. You know. The AI is making you lazy. So, who's responsible? You don't blame your teacher. You blame yourself. Okay? Are you being a bit taking the shortcut, fast, just be efficient, get the answer? Or you don't mind? I spend 2 hours. I use some AI. I ask AI. I put one side. And then use without AI and think. Use the brain, okay? But thinking is a very hard process. It's a lot of energy, okay? What will you use AI for? Tell your teachers. Teachers think they know what's best for you, but if you don't talk to them, you think that you don't know me, I don't like this. But because you didn't tell them. But you tell them, you must try. And through evidence that this is good for my teacher to listen to you. Oh, really? And you talk and have a conversation. You design a course together. Remember why I work with my students? Because they are learning. They are fast. I'm slow, right? But I want to learn with them. So the TPACK AI is where this whole framework binds to all. You know about TPACK, right? What is the TPACK AI? Okay, it's outside. In each of these spheres, AI does provide the technological knowledge, content knowledge, and pedagogical knowledge. But to do that, the skills are different. It's about how you ask, the prompting. If you just go to AI and say, how many ppb is the 2.0 microgram per kilogram? The 食用油毒油事件 you know, DAP, okay? And then they do not know who you are, just give you some answer. But if you say, I'm a chemistry expert, I know about this, AI know, oh, you're expert. So 他们不敢乱来，他们就会 search more, you know, because they know you're chemist. So the answer is more elaborate. So you can read this article by other professors from Tashida. It's actually 2010 from the TPACK. At the time, there's no AI yet, okay? But now the AI is just the frame, okay? It comes about in the recent years, okay? Remember, teachers, if you're a teacher, you don't just lecture. Don't do this, don't do that, okay? You inspire. Use AI to design the course. If I were to teach a course on general chemistry today, and I will do that in September back home in Ireland, I will not start with electrons and neutrons and bonding orbital theory. No, I change. Maybe I start with aluminum, okay? Whereas in the aircraft, right, in our food, you know, in the materials, and I go with gallium, which is a byproduct for the extraction of the bauxite, right? And in China, why do they have the chip war with America? It's because when they extract lots of aluminum, for the growth, when they build the aircraft industry, you have got the Boeing, you have got the Airbus from Toulouse in France, and China build their own aircraft. You need aluminum. They have carbon, aluminum, you extract them. But remember, gallium, which is very similar in the periodic table, is a diagonal relationship. So when you extract the waste contains the gallium, that becomes useful as the semiconductor industry that Taiwan is known for, right? Gallium nitride. So we can't talk about this first through something not just in chemistry, but so that the human scientists, the philosopher will think, hey, this is something I need to know. If not, I don't know why there are war ongoing. There's debate and quarrel, right? There's fight. It's all about this element. And AI can teach you that. Use AI for this reason. Design thinking. Now, I also believe that many issues in life is not technology. Technology helps us do things fast and better, but it's actually human problems. I don't like you, don't do it. Even though your solution is good, right? The boss don't like you, too bad for you. Okay, it's human, and we know that humans are so hard to change. And the older you are, more people are less likely to change. But again, I want to say it's not about age. It's about the mind and the heart. Okay, it's about inspiration. Okay? So design thinking change people's mind. Okay? Now, so what can university do? Like should I, right? So I do suggest there are 5 ways that the university can spend the resource in the faculty upskilling. And right now, as I'm speaking from an external visitor, I come from Ireland, that's very far away from the Europe. By coming because I trust my friends here, they invite me to share my research. You coming to online is a free class. This is upskilling, you're learning. Okay, from people around the world, and then you think. You don't just believe what I say. You listen, you know, and you think. Because what worked for me in Europe, not everything worked for you. Okay, because maybe you're not chemist, but the thinking is relevant. Okay, we find that the top-down approach doesn't work. It's like the army. If I tell you to do that, right? You just do. But it doesn't endure, okay? But COP, if I give you resources, say, hey, tell your friends, learn, do some project. You learn from people. You don't learn from AI. You get information from AI, but you learn from observing people's behavior. Now, we can also provide the teachers like with some projects, and to build some hackathon, even to solve some problems that is existing in science, in the social science, or the law, or the library, okay? Because some problems are common. Next, write for credential. Take classes, you get a certificate. Get more, you get a degree. It's very motivating. You recognize this is a time and effort. You partner with like the technology unit right here, right? You see, I'm doing this standing up, walking presentation, which I think is very good, but it's not common. Because people always think, you sit down and then just talk, right? I don't like it. Humans are mobile. We are flex, we move. That's why. And then finally, you try to, have the younger faculty, the younger teachers, who are very good with AI, with the senior colleague. Actually, you know what? The senior people, they want to learn, but sometimes they feel very paiseh, 很慢，不敢问. But if you say, young people, together, then they behind the scenes they learn, and they feel very happy, right? How I know? Because my parents, they want to learn, but they realize that they're older, 很难上手，是真的。Digital payment, they're scared, right? 很多诈骗, But the young people have the patience, teach the older ones, they have more confidence. Just like I am not so young, you are younger than me, you teach me. I'd be happy to listen to you. Okay? So I'm coming to the end now, right? Think of, can AI be used? Should it be used? Most people confuse that it's co-pilot, right? They think it's co-pilot, but they're autopilot. They throw the problems to AI and then copy and paste. That. Co-pilot is, you're my buddy, we think together. I challenge you, you challenge me. That's good. Not autopilot. Autopilot means you sleep. Okay. Students will use AI to do homework. That's the truth. In my university, after AI, the assignment grade got better. So good. But the exam grade go down. What does it mean? Right? They use AI. Right? To me, it's okay. But they have to know that they have no skill. Okay? 没有电脑，没有 AI, no skill. So you call yourself a 大学生毕业 right? So last thing is 4 things to take away, that this shift is about how we learn should not be reading books and just memorizing, but is having data to reason with our brain without AI. We should teach that. And then we find from the data that there's still lots of work for the university curriculum to change, right? You might want to take a look at what they do and see for Shida what you want to do in the future. They can jump ahead. Faculty also want to learn how to build trust between the university professors so that they can work together. That's something very hard to do. And even if you have a program here, but another university doesn't have it or has the same thing, but it's so different. When students do your bachelor in Shida and go to another university, say, oh, it's different, I've done before. Or they from other university, they come to here and say, oh, that's different. They're confused. That's bad, you know? It's still AI, but it's bad. Okay. So questions, right, that we raise in the study, but we can't answer. If you start answering too late, it's never too late. Start right now. The 12% in the study, right? Is it just a title? Okay. Does it mean that when we evaluate AI, you do have better output? Can a student really detect AI is hallucinating? I don't know. With the TPACK AI, can it really upskill you? Okay. And in the table 1 that you read, right, can I use these questions via diagnostic instrument to see whether you, as a student, have mastered AI? As a teacher, have you mastered AI? As an administrator, have you mastered AI? Okay, these are the table 1. Remember table 1. Okay, the questions for you. You answer. So finally, I'm going to end by saying that if you're interested, you can present your work in education journals. I serve as editor for this. I think that's a very good platform to share your study. And I'm inviting you for collaboration. Just reach out to me. So this is my slide. You can find me online. And once again, I want to thank Professor and your time very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's thank Professor Fong for the very insightful talks here. Now we are open for some questions. Maybe I would let the audience to ask questions online.
Have a drink. Yeah. Yeah, sure.
If you have questions, you're welcome to just say it.
Okay, I'll just say it.
Yeah.
Say your name, where you're from, are you a student, teacher, or administrator? And then ask a question. Now, I understand Chinese is okay, right? Yeah, let's speak slowly.
English, Chinese. Any questions from the audience? Okay, if not, I have actually we have some audience give us 4 questions in advance. Okay, maybe I should just read it. Yeah. Okay, the first one: with the wide range of AI certifications currently available, many educators may find it difficult to determine which ones are truly valuable. In your opinion, is it necessary or beneficial for teachers to obtain an AI certification?
Questions. Well, let me first start with an analogy, right? If you earn a degree and you apply for a job, right? The degree get you what? It doesn't get you a job. It get you an interview, maybe. Okay? Because there's so many people. So likewise, if you have an AI certificate, it might give you an interview. Because you also see, they will test you. Do you just do exams or do you have the hard skills? So, but if you think that you want to earn a certificate, go with the program. I think in my paper, we can see, in the 51 universities, they really do CDCC, CIML, good ones. But of course, they're going to charge more money for good reason. Yeah?
So, okay, we go to the second questions. What are the differences between the TPACK and the AIPACK framework?
Do you mean AITPACK or AIPACK? Because I've not heard AIPACK before. Yes, so yeah, but I think in the slide or even you can find from a paper, I think today's is really about I'm trying to use that paper. It's not hard to read, right? Just text, but young people don't want to read. I want to present in a way so that you can talk to me and think, right? Because when you read, you don't hear my voice. You don't see the way, the figures, right? I'm trying to inspire you to think. Now back to this, you have TPACK. Your frame is the AI, right? And AI influences a different epistemology part. Okay, so just think a bit more. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to the third questions. That will be a long questions. In humanity education, such as literature and creative writing, we highly value students' voice and critical empathy. Within the TPACK framework, how can educators draw a clear boundary between AI as a cognitive scaffold and AI as a replacement for human thought? What pedagogical strategy would you suggest to ensure students remain the primary critics and creators?
So if I have a choice, right, I would prefer to do small group classes. 6 students, maybe 10 or 12 maximum, like a freshman seminar. Because with the right size, then you can have the psychological safe space to talk and the time, you know. Then we all talk, no phone, nothing, just talk. We have paper and pen. You can write and think, you know, you can draw and talk. And then in the exam, I will always use paper and pen. Because that's the only way to have the brain, you know. You know?
Keep you focused.
Exactly, only, okay? Yeah. So I tell you a story. In the army, you know, I served in the army as an officer. In some high-level training, the phone we lock outside, you know. It's like you go to maybe no phone, right?
Without the phone.
Exactly. Because it's security, it's focus, it's everything, you know. Yeah.
Keep people focused.
Yeah.
Thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, the last question is how to always keep up to date with technological content.
This one is actually not a hard question, right? You look at young people. You know, when you take the 捷运 or bus, right? Oh, you know who's young. You kind of know, oh, now what app they're doing, you know? Then you kind of know that's the technology. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I want to share my experience. I always look what my students do.
Oh,
and I'm meeting.
Exactly. Yeah. No, we think the same. Yeah, our students are young, and I get all my ideas. The research is from them. I don't ask them. You ask them, they don't tell you. But you see what they're doing.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see if we have more questions online. Okay, someone is asking, is it possible to share the slides with us afterwards? I think we will publish the video online.
Yeah, I think it's better.
The content of the slide will be on the video.
Exactly, that's better that way. Yeah.
Okay, and do we have any question from the audience? Okay, if not, let's thank Fang Man for the wonderful talk. Let's press done.
Thanks very much again for your time.
Thank you for everyone with us online. Thank you.